Oh, come on. You love the dirty talking grimace. You... Xbox, what the hell is this?
My chastity belt.
A chastity belt? What in God's name is that for? Yeah.
Well, I'll be. Looks like you guys lived from the last hit of salt I gave you. That wasn't according to plan. Either you guys are some serious genetic anomalies, or you've developed a tolerance that would put even Ozzy Osbourne to shame.
Are you sober now?
I know you're all looking for that sweet overdose, and considering you still have some pony salt and Elden Ring salt in your system, I figured now would be a nice time to experiment with a little bit of Xbots salt. It's not often you get your hands on this shit. So when it does come by, I expect all of you to snort it up like maniacs.
It's a new product him and I've been working up. Careful when you hit it.
So earlier today, I decided to put up a poll asking people what exactly they thought about Microsoft's DRM. And it wasn't the choices people made on the poll that blew my mind away. It's the fact that there was a huge chunk of people that had absolutely no clue what DRM was. You're disappointing Daddy Frit. This is the type of shit that gets you on the No Child Left Behind program, because I'll be dropping you off tomorrow. Daddy wasn't there. Okay, fine, stop crying. Don't tell your mom I said that. I didn't mean it, that was just the alcohol talking. I'll walk you guys through what DRM is real quick. DRM stands for Dick Reinforced Media. Okay, no, I'm lying, but it might as well be called that. What it actually stands for is Digital Rights Management, which typically involves the use of codes that prohibit content copying or limit the number of devices a product can be accessed from. Which, I mean, sounds fair, right? You don't want the rest of the world to be able to access your game off of just one code. Oh wait, they already can. It's called piracy. In which case, DRM is an absolute failure.
We are the pirates, so don't do anything. We just stay at home and lie around.
And oftentimes, the end result is usually consumers get fucked over, and companies shrug their shoulders and say, well, we'll put DRM in our next game anyway. Which got you results like, well, Gran Turismo 7, a game that required always online in order to function at 100%. But we're talking small scale. The type of DRM Microsoft implemented is one that requires your console to be connected online, just so you could switch it to offline mode.
Oh, that's greasy.
That's really greasy.
Yeah, that's greasy. Greasy.
But what does that mean, Frit? Well, that basically means that if the servers go down or there's an outage, you have no access to the games you bought digitally, which is exactly what happened, because as with most technology, there's always a downside to it. I mean, never mind the fact that DRM is a downside to the consumer no matter how you put it, but for the companies who utilize it, that can result in a lot of downtime, a lot of lost revenue, and a bad taste in customers' mouths that not even Jim Ryan's semen could replicate.
What is that sour, salty taste in my mouth? You guys have that?
Yeah, I got that.
Yes, I have that. What is that?
It's real bad.
We're aware that some of our users are unable to purchase games, launch games, or start cloud gaming sessions. Our teams are investigating. Please keep an eye here and on our status page for updates. The Xbox network outages this weekend highlight the DRM offline issues Microsoft needs to tackle. Some Xbox owners were left without access to their single-player digital games, even on their Xbox home console. That shouldn't be happening. The Xbox outages have made it clear that something needs to change with their DRM policy. Games that are downloaded to my console should have a window to be offline and playable without checking in. Hopefully we get some clarity and a solution to avoid this issue again. So Microsoft Xbox, you are having an outage? And a single-player game that I own, Elden Ring, and I have downloaded cannot play due to service outage? What the fuck is this insanity? It's inexcusable. This has been Rich of Review Tech USA. Signing out. Have a good one.
Where's my money? You gonna give me my money? Where's my money, man?
And mind you, this has been going on for, what is it now? 4 days. Now keep in mind, this outage is not affecting all people. So no, it's not every single person who is receiving it, which explained a lot of confusion. However, for those who tried setting their console to home console and still being locked out, it's been a pretty shitty weekend. You're out there working at an Amazon warehouse, questioning whether you should live the next day, and that nice tiny little box you have under your TV that helps keep you some comfort before your inevitable downfall is suddenly a brick. Now obviously it's not on purpose. It's not like Microsoft intentionally wants you to not be able to play your games. That's counterintuitive, and they don't want people locked out of games that have monetization. It's obviously some issue going on with the Xbox network, and in the time that people are waiting for these issues to be resolved, it brings up one hell of a good discussion about DRM and primarily the way Microsoft is handling it. DRM isn't gonna go away. PlayStation, Nintendo, Steam, nearly every single gaming company on the face of this planet implements some form of DRM. As pointless as it is, they all implement it to a degree, but Microsoft's approach is as burgers as especially when said corporation touts numerously about how much they care about video game preservation, how much more pro-consumer they are, and how they want to bring you the best experience. And the crazy part to me is that none of what I'm saying is a dunk on the console, but the conversation online has been so goddamn polluted with console wars that any form of criticism or mention of bad news about Xbox is seen as a dunk to insecure fanboys who are more concerned about how their favorite brand is perceived than the future of their game library. An outage like this just gives you a little taste of what it would be like if any corporation decided to just pull the rug from under you right after pissing on it.
Walter, he peed on my rug.
He peed on the dude's rug.
And honestly, it's a pretty easy fix. Any digital game you buy, especially single-player digital games, should just be tagged the minute you buy them and never require a checkup ever again. This isn't me saying you Microsoft for having DRM. That would be stupid. Everybody has a form of DRM. This is me saying, hey Microsoft, get your shit together, fix this, and find a permanent solution. And the majority of Xbox users don't disagree. However, as you could expect, there was a very fringe part of the Xbox community, you know, the fanboys, that simply couldn't even handle the news. And all it did is made me realize that PlayStation fanboys and Xbox fanboys are just two sides of the same coin. Both get incredibly salty and overly defensive over the tiniest of criticisms.
Is it 2013? People don't know what DRM is really. Sony has it and Nintendo has it, mobile and PC have it, but Xbox? It's a crime.
1,000 goddamn likes. And it really shows that the person claiming nobody knows what DRM is themselves do not know what DRM is. It's blatantly obvious the only thing this person did was Google, does PlayStation have DRM, and thought this was a gotcha. But that's not even the craziest part. The craziest part to me is that this account is followed by goddamn Phil Spencer himself.
Oh my.
I have no idea how Phil Spencer will ever improve the Xbox brand following dipshits like this. These are not the people you want to listen to. These are yes men, and I say men lightly. Xbox defense brings in the clout, just as much as PlayStation defense brings in clout. So much clout that one of the lead heads of a corporation will end up following you. Consoles have been DRM boxes for quite a few generations now, although I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bunch of PlayStation fanboys out there acting like PlayStation doesn't have DRM. It goes both ways here, but exactly how hard is it to be the bigger man? That's my real question. How hard is it to just look at what the problem is, identify that several people are having issues, and say, you know what, this is bullshit. Things need to change. Is it really that hard? I mean, if I had eyes like Phil Spencer on me, I would be incredibly vocal. But in this case, this looks like a man who's more afraid to lose a follow from Phil Spencer than help improve upon the product. Meanwhile, there are actual Xbox gamers out there who would give anything in the world to tell Phil Spencer what they can do to improve.
If you claim to game on PC and only on PC, hence the only, then it's kind of silly of you to talk about console war stuff because they feel left out. Lol, they have no corporate brand, just themselves. There is no fun in that, so they come over to our side of the playground.
We used to beat people up for saying things like that. Everything's all topsy-turvy now.
Since when has DRM ever been console war related? Just like every other gaming subject, it's become plagued with console war bullshit. Resolution, frame rate, VRR, anything they can get their goddamn hands on. When PC gamers were critical of PlayStation fanboys for capping for Gran Turismo 7, there was no problem. These guys weren't asking, why are you guys getting involved? But when it comes to this, all of a sudden, why are you guys talking about it, huh? News newsflash, people can talk about whatever the hell they want. DRM is something that affects all of us, alright? And if we see Xbox fanboys, like you jackasses, doing everything you can to damage control it, you're gonna get called out. But that's adorable. You have this playground mentality when it comes to talking about video games. Well, if that's the case, you can consider me the bully. Unlike you guys, I'm not pledging allegiance towards a console and then making it my identity. Part of the humor of this channel is that we make fun of jackasses like that. Nobody wants a corporation they can get behind. People want functioning products and good video games. That's it. What you guys want is beyond me. But I guess you're right, we are being left out. Left out of a world where you're locked out of your own goddamn games.
PC guys be like, Xbox DRM is bad for gamers, bad for the gaming industry. We must condemn DRM. Also, PC guys, great news. Forza Horizon 5 has been cracked, aka stealing content from developers, so I don't have to buy it or subscribe to Game Pass. It's a win-win for me.
Since I bring news, join me in PC gaming and ascend to godhood. For you are weak and I am mighty.
Wow, way to prove how useless DRM is in your own goddamn tweet, showing us that Forza Horizon 5 was cracked no matter how much DRM Microsoft put on it. I don't even know how incompetent you have to be to make a tweet like this that summarizes exactly why DRM is pretty pointless, and then proceed to actively defend it. Not to mention that game had remarkable numbers, even with the cracked version out. But isn't it amazing? Xbox gets some criticism because of its DRM, and all of a sudden, we must defend DRM as the mentality they have. Yet when GT7's microtransactions were there, when Nintendo's DRM policy backfires, they're the first ones to be in the comment section, pointing and laughing. These guys have been in the console war trenches far too long, they have a little PTSD, so they're constantly on the offense, expecting every single criticism to be enemy fire. And the worst part is, if you're a PC gamer, they want you to choose a side, when all I want to do is drop a nuke on all of them. Anytime DRM causes an issue, everybody should be bringing it up. How do you think things get fixed? How do you think solutions get found? By people keeping silent? Especially when all you have to say is, hey, Microsoft, remove the online check-in requirement. It's not a DRM is only bad when Microsoft does it. And yet that is how they perceive it.
Notice how when Xbox is messing up, the entire gaming community, Xbox fans and checkmarks all band together. One band, one sound. When PlayStation is screwing up, it's crickets from their player base and checkmarks. It's excuses, justifications, and whataboutisms. We are not the same.
2 seconds later.
Sony increased prices, crunched devs to oblivion, delayed 3 AAA games in a year, prevent sub-stacking, lied about generations, back combat, put demos, cloud saves, etc. behind paywalls, charged for crossplay, shady third-party deals, Gran Turismo 7 debacle, and more, but it's totally fine.
How in God's name are you gonna criticize the other side of whataboutism and then proceed to use some whataboutism? If self-awareness isn't something that's taught in the education system, then we might as well put it in now. Oh, you guys most certainly are the same. Like I said, two sides of the same goddamn coin. And if you really didn't want to be the same, you wouldn't drag console wars into this. You'd have to be living in your own goddamn reality to act like Sony never gets called out by the media or their own consumers for any of the crap they pull off. It's a disingenuous narrative pushed by someone who continuously wants you to believe Xbox is a victim. I mean, off the bat, GT7, are you really going to sit there and say that the media and everybody online wasn't talking about this? Are you really gonna sit there and say Sony wasn't scrutinized when news about them crunching their employees was released? But most importantly, what does any of this have to do with what happened with Microsoft? Well, apparently Xbox guys don't damage control and call out shit as it is. And PlayStation guys, on the other hand, they damage control all the time. Please forget about what happened here. Can we turn all our attention back to Sony? Please, please, please. Because I never forget about the shit they do.
Ponies, how could Microsoft sell the Xbox Series S, an all-digital console DRM? Me. Sony sells an all-digital PS5 DRM. Ponies, PS5 all-digital doesn't count. Me. Wait, what?
Oh, what I would have given to have seen that comment section, but he locked it. These guys really took one criticism of Xbox as a reason to defend DRM. I can't even make this up. It doesn't matter if both consoles are all digital. Even the ones that allow you to use discs also have DRM. Wherever digital media exists, you can expect to come across some DRM. And in that case, the PS5 does a slightly better job of ensuring people will not be locked out of their game's library. And that slight advantage made all the difference in a scenario like this. They don't happen often. You shouldn't be worried about an outage happening all the time. God knows there's better things to worry about. But when situations like this do happen, you can quickly start identifying major issues and start looking for a solution. But in this case, these guys start looking for ways to console war. Oh yeah? You think DRM is bad? Well, PlayStation has DRM too. Ha! This is not the own you think it is. This is the equivalent of laughing at the other console for also having paid online. It's an issue that every single person on every platform faces, and yet when it's Xbox's turn to get criticized for it, it quickly becomes an us versus them mentality, when it should really just be an us versus DRM mentality. I shouldn't have to be sitting here telling you this. It should be common sense. And if you gave a damn about your own integrity, or the console you tweet about 24/7 but never touch, then you wouldn't be arguing for DRM. And it really says something when people like Colt Eastwood or Dealer Gaming are a lot more openly critical about this, and they make money shilling for Xbox. So what the hell does that say about you? Well, if anything, it tells me that you guys are a lot more detrimental to the brand than you could ever possibly imagine. Just like this salt is detrimental to your health. I advise you all drink a lot of water when you get home, if you survive the walk, of course. And with that being said, I hope you like, comment, share, subscribe if you so choose to, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.
Fritongo sucks ass.